Okay, time for a new video, and whether you're somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, therefore I apologise in advance if I stumble over my words going forwards, and indeed if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2021 related video here on my channel. Last night, at the time of recording this video, the first semi-final of the 2021 Eurovision Song Contest took place at the Ahoy in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and we had 10 qualifiers out of the 16 acts that were involved. Those results were determined thanks to a combination of jury votes that were cast by those 16 nations and 3 of the automatic qualifiers during the jury semi-final on Monday, and then the other 50% came from the voting public, those nations that could vote last night, that's when they voted. So, in this video, I'm just, excuse me, I'm going to go through last night's show a little bit, not in too much detail, because I've spoken about the songs so many times now. Then I'm going to go through semi-final 2, which is tomorrow night, and give you my final prediction of the semi-final 2 results. Now, I haven't been awake that long, so if I do slip up in places, I apologise. As I mentioned in a previous video as well, my health hasn't been the greatest, and last night after the contest it actually wasn't terrific once again, so I really am taking my doctor's orders on board here and taking it steady. There will be blog posts and more videos, don't worry about that. There might be a slight delay with some blog posts, and they will be shorter than usual, no doubt about that. I simply don't have the time, or really the energy at the moment, to type up loads and loads of thoughts. Hopefully you understand. Links as always in the description to my other social media pages. Now, last night, first things first, hosts were great, particularly Nikki, who I think stole the show a little bit. The stage looking fabulous, great to have a crowd in. I know that they are sort of pumping through fake applause almost. That didn't really bother me too much. I'm sure that if you were there, the atmosphere was just absolutely electric. They mentioned it many times about how wonderful it was to have a crowd in, and it was. And so many of the performances were excellent. In fact, you could say every performance last night was just terrific. It was perhaps the most fun I've ever had watching a semi-final, perhaps the toughest semi-final we've ever had. I've seen already this morning record viewing figures. I believe it is in Italy, I think it is, for a semi-final. The most watched semi-final of Eurovision for years here in the UK. Absolutely terrific. Over 1 million viewers in Sweden. So clearly Eurovision being back is big business across most of Europe. Anyway, semi-final 1. A brief review, if you will. Song 1, Lithuania. This was always going through. Charming, utterly charismatic, absolutely the right song to get things going in the end. We saw the stage in all its glory and all of the whirling purple lights, and I think, yes, there would have been some diaspora votes for this, but I still maintain that this is a song that will get votes anyway from all corners, and Lithuania will be in the second half of the grand final, so as late on as possible would obviously be great for them. Really terrific song. It still feels modern and fresh to me. Let me know what you think about that. Song 2, Slovenia. I mean, whereas Lithuania I think was always likely to go through, Slovenia was perhaps always likely to miss out. Anna Soklic, she belted this out. She was really going for it. She did a terrific job. But if anything, the performance was really quite predictable in the end. It felt as though it was over quite quickly. It didn't really stand out enough from the field. Plus, Russia was up next, and that was another performance that really got people talking. So I think, if anything, Slovenia can feel a bit unlucky, because it was a tough semi-final, and they were on early. Otherwise, there wasn't really anything else about this that was extremely poor, if that's the right word to use. It was just the way the draw panned out. Alas. Anna, though, terrific vocals. Song 3, Russia. This was very good. I like the song a lot more now. It's still not one of my favourites by any stretch of the imagination. Russian Woman by Manizha. So confident. Just the right amount of sass. I mean, she looked utterly comfortable on that stage. Same backing singers as before. That very powerful moment where she turned to the LED and sort of pleaded almost with these images, many, many images of Russian women. And I can see why this song is striking a chord with people, because it is passionately executed and the meaning of the song is quite powerful as well. I don't think for 1 minute that this is going to be our winner, but it looks as though Russia are on course for the top 10 once again. Song 4, Sweden, Tussa with Voices. This, I said, excuse me, I said it before, this really doesn't stand out whatsoever. Even in the recap, didn't stand out much to me at all. Let me know your thoughts. Tussa's a good singer. I thought he performed quite well last night. The lights didn't drown him out. He was in that red outfit with the arms exposed. He's got dancers with him. I don't know. I have to say I think I prefer his Melfest performance in the grand final of that show a little bit more than what we had last night. But Sweden, come on now. I didn't think for 1 second that he would not qualify. There was a moment during my video last night where I did say Sweden could be in trouble here, something along those lines. But in the end, he went through. Sweden will be in the second half of the show. I should say, excuse me, Russia will be in the first half. Possibly late on in the first half. Song 5, Australia. This was so good. I mean, I was expecting it to be a pretty solid performance, but this was so good. Very 1980s. You could tell that it wasn't at the Ahoy, absolutely. But Montaigne in this black outfit with the sort of, was it yellow hair? Can't quite remember. She had dancers with her. Lots of colourful lights, as you would expect for a song called Technicolor. And it seemed as though she was having a lot of fun. I think she grew into the performance, if you see what I mean. Absolutely wonderful. I really like the song. And if anything, it's starting to rise for me again after I went off it for a little while. It's a tremendous shame that she couldn't be there. She was up in the middle of the night to watch that performance and the semi-final as a whole. I don't think it's a disappointment she's out, because it's been a very tough year, and Australia's so far away from mainland Europe, so it was perhaps quite likely she wasn't going to be able to travel anyway. They'll come back next year, bigger and better, I'm sure. Perhaps with Damiim, we wait and see. North Macedonia, Song 6, Vasil with Here I Stand. Well, this was really good. Yeah, it was a bit cheesy, but my word, he sang very well. That euphoric moment where he leaned back, and we had that breastplate shining across the arena. Actually really nicely done, and wasn't too corny. It was potentially going in that direction, but I think the performance ended just before it really became far too cheesy for all of us, perhaps. Yeah, this was pretty good. I mean, a tough semi-final. Nobody really expected him to go through that much, but I don't think he disgraced himself one bit. If he's last overall in this semi-final, so be it. But actually, he did a really nice job. I think he can be very proud of what he did. Song 7, Ireland, Leslie Roy Maps. The staging was good. The whole thing, which we really needed to see, I thought it was quite effective. But vocally, just not quite strong enough. If anything, she was a bit breathless at times, even from the word go. Apparently, the delay before her performance was because a camera broke. Hence why we had to faff around for a few minutes waiting for the performance to begin. Still one of my favourites from this semi-final, but honestly, I think the vocals let her down just a touch. A shame, because this would have stood out in the final because of the way it was executed with the cardboard cutouts and everything. Song 8, Cyprus. Absolutely fabulous stuff. El Diablo. I mean, Elena, she looked totally comfortable, and you could hear it in her voice and the smile on her face. She was loving every second of it. She was having a blast. That's what really matters. This was sexy as all hell. Oh my word, I'm telling you right now. This is perhaps a sexier performance than Fuego. My word. I mean, I know I go on about it, but she looked amazing. Absolutely amazing. And the vocals were pretty good too. And her dancers were doing their thing in their tight red outfits in the mirror. And then at the end, El Diablo up in flames. I mean, this surely finished perhaps in the top 3 of this semi-final. Maybe not with the juries, but with the public, yes. Absolutely tremendous. Song 9, Norway. This was all right. There was that sort of vulnerable moment where he took off his glasses and we could see his actual tics. Yeah, we had flames. He had his dancers in the black outfits. He was in that heavy coat. I don't think this stood out that much. I think it was probably public love that got him through. And I should say, Cyprus is in the first half, which is a little bit damaging. Norway is in the second half. Yeah, he was announced first as well. I thought that if Norway went through, which I didn't predict, I should say, I thought he would have been announced last. But anyway, Song 10, Croatia, a big fan favourite, is out. I mean, we were going to lose, I suppose, one of the pop bops, and I thought Israel and Azerbaijan were more likely to go through than Croatia. Maybe because Croatia's qualification record isn't quite as impressive, maybe. But this was a really good performance. Albina looking great in that sort of robotic sci-fi type outfit. She had dancers with her. We had pyros, the blue and pink colour scheme. She was on the runway. This was really nicely done. But I suppose the points just went elsewhere in the end. Song 11, Belgium. Oh, this was really good. It could have been a little stronger, but on the whole, this was really great. Hooverphonic, The Wrong Place, some of the best vocals of the night, as far as I'm concerned. A very sort of languid performance, if that's the right term to use. But there's a place for this in the final. It will be in the first half, so probably on second, which is a shame. But yeah, the camera panned around the group, many of them all of them I think it was, on little podiums. And there was a really moody but classy atmosphere to the whole thing. Really nice job. Belgium back in the final for the first time in many years. And Hooverphonic, a very experienced band as well. Song 12, Israel. This was fine. I still think the backdrop and everything they're doing with this sort of neon theme, I think it's still a bit cluttered. She hit the whistle notes. That was impressive. But the song itself, I don't know. I just think it's okay. It's nothing truly outstanding. Aidan, Elena, really good. Nice energy. Also a very engaging performer. Set Me Free. Yeah, I think this probably qualified maybe in something like 7th or 8th place maybe. I think the juries would have loved it more. Song 13, Romania. I should have had this down as an NQ. I like Roxanne so much. She's got such a promising career ahead of her. I know in the jury show the other evening there were issues and she had to perform again. So maybe that knocked her confidence a bit. Last night was the strongest she'd sounded vocally since she's been in Rotterdam as far as I'm concerned, but it still wasn't strong enough. She was wearing a different outfit, she was trying to recreate the music video a little bit, and I said previously in another video that I think people watching this for the first time last night, even though there was a story going on, they might have just been bored by it all. Maybe that turned out to be the case. I wouldn't be surprised if Romania perhaps finished last overall, which would be extremely harsh, because the studio version's really quite strong. But live, it just wasn't quite working. No final again for Romania. Song 14, Azerbaijan. This was fine. The stage is quite empty for this. And in the end, the whole thing wasn't as impressive as I wanted it to be. But Effendi, in black, dancers in black outfits too. This sort of teal and purple colour scheme, which was quite nice. And yeah, it's a catchy song. It's in the final. Azerbaijan will be in the second half. Israel in the first half. Might even open the grand final. We wait and see. Ukraine. People are saying this absolutely trounced everything else last night. I wouldn't go that far. Goe with Shum. This was really great. Very engaging. I use that word again because it's absolutely true. We had the sort of silvery running man figures on the backdrop. Very Tron on steroids, if you will. Vocally, not bad. Cheryl Baker of Bucks Fizz, who appeared on TV here in England, chipping in with her 2 cents, if you will. She didn't like Lithuania, Russia, and she also said Ukraine's lead singer Katerina was pitchy. All 3 of them went through, so make of that what you will. But yeah, Ukraine, this was good, and it will do well in the final. It's now one of the favourites to win, absolutely. And then Malta. Did I get winner vibes? Maybe a little bit. We had the wall of pyro, the flashing pink neon lights, Destiny singing the hell out of this song. Only 18, but so good. Je me casse, sassy, catchy, fun, a great show closer. But I'll be honest with you, maybe not the strongest performance of the night. Still, I imagine it probably won the semi-final as a whole, thanks to a large amount of jury love and perhaps a solid amount of public support as well. I should say, having seen Maneskin's performance on YouTube, nothing else comes close to them this year. It's all about that jury now, because I can see Italy doing extremely well in the public half of the results. Anyway, I'm waffling. Semi-final 2, here we go. Let me know your thoughts. Song 1 tomorrow night, San Marino. A good show opener. Senate and Flowrider. He's there with Adrenalina. Now here's the thing. I'll be totally honest with you. I actually couldn't give a flying toss that Flowrider is there. I actually really couldn't care less. It's a bit of a PR stunt, and it's got people talking, so it is working. Senate's the lead here, but it will all be about Flowrider tomorrow. He'll steal the show, potentially. I'm not saying it will happen, but he might steal the show. Everybody will be going nuts. They were on social media last night. Doesn't he have to quarantine? Maybe he already has. I've no idea. But look, the song is a very credible pop effort. It's written by pretty much the entire population of San Marino. We've got bright primary colours, the rotating platform from the music video. Senate's wearing that sort of feathery outfit from the music video as well. It's a very good-looking performance and a good song. But people will only be talking about one thing now. And they'll be in the final, San Marino. This is likely to be their best result ever. But I'll be honest, I don't think for 1 minute that this song should be receiving a staggering amount of points in either half of the results, because there's far better songs, even in this semi-final. So that's my thoughts. Song 2, Estonia. Yeah, I don't think this is probably going to make the cut. It's a very plain performance. He's in between. This is Uku Savista, of course. Very handsome guy in that sort of white shirt, black trousers, slack tie. He's in between two far more up-tempo tracks. We've got a sort of stormy scene on the backdrop, lightning bolts, that sort of thing. How he sounded in the rehearsals was the strongest I've heard him sing, to be honest with you, ever. But it's all very static, doesn't really go anywhere. And as much as the studio version, and indeed the live version, don't seem that bad, I don't see where the points are going to come from. Song 3, Czech Republic. Yeah, Benny Cristo, really likeable guy. This song, Omega, is considerably better than his effort last year, as far as I'm concerned. But whether he's really holding back or not, I don't know. But his vocals did not sound great in the second rehearsal clip. The energy was also, totally gone. So that needs to come back tomorrow, and indeed tonight when the juries vote. Otherwise, the Czechs are in a spot of bother. We've got a silvery pattern on the backdrop, and also the kaleidoscopic purpley images from the music video too. It's a good song, but it might not qualify. Excuse me. Song 4, Greece. So we've got Stefania, Dutch-born, so young, but a great singer. And we've got that moment where the green screen kicks in and some of her backing dancers are sort of partially invisible. Whether we really need that or not, I don't know, but it gives the song a bit more of an edge, a bit more memorability. This is a very fine pop song. I think it's probably going through. Could be a return to form for Greece. We wait and see. Song 5, Austria. Well, underestimate this if you dare. Vincent's on a podium, all in black. His vocals have been really good, actually. Maybe this is a better song than his effort last year. That was more up-tempo. This is a ballad, of course. That strip of lights behind him. And I think the juries will love this. The public less so. There has been discrepancies in the past with Austria. But this is a fine song. No doubt about it. A bit repetitive, but still really good. Poland, Song 6. I mean, Rafał is more of a TV presenter than a singer. His vocals haven't been great. In the rehearsal clip, the pyro blocked his face. He's got dancers who are putting in more energy than he is. We've got Warszawa on the semi-transparent LED screen. This purple and pink and blue colour scheme. This is an up-tempo track. It just feels really dated. And to be honest, I don't think anything can save Poland here from an NQ. Song 7, the juries, I imagine, very few points for this. Song 7, Moldova, perhaps the biggest disappointment of the year. No ice cream cones, not really even a sort of candy theme, sugary theme to the whole performance. Natalia Gordienko, the 06 representative, is back. She's on a podium with dancers who have got their chests exposed, but otherwise in these black outfits from the music video. We've got a rotating sugar cube, I guess, in pink on the backdrop. It's just not as crazy, for want of a different word. It's not as crazy as I think we all wanted it to be. She's in a white dress. She sounds okay. But this doesn't really stand out much, does it? If it goes through, it's by a narrow margin. Song 8, Iceland. Probably going to win the public result here. We wait and see. In the rehearsal clip, we saw the start of the performance where the backdrop is all purple and then the beat kicks in. This is disco pop, charming, engaging, fun, quirky, very similar to Iceland's effort last year, which ended up being a big hit. Dardi and his family and friends on stage with him, the teal outfits, the black parts on their shoulders now, the guitars, the robotic dance moves at the start, the space theme with cartoon figures on the backdrop. This is all working really, really well. Vocally solid as well. It's going through, let's be honest. Song 9, Serbia. Fierce, sexy, powerful. It's just the three of them, Hurricane on stage, I believe. But that's all we need, because I think they totally carry this. We've got black and white and red as the main colour scheme. This is very strong. I was very impressed. And Serbia will almost certainly do better with the public than the juries. Song 10, Georgia. I don't know how the juries will respond to this. It looks as though it's going to be a very forgettable performance. Tornica, sounding all right, fairly smartly dressed, but I don't think he's going to move around too much. We seem to have blue as the main colour. There's really not much else to say about this. There's a real lack of support for him, it has to be said. Albania, Song 11. We've got flashes of red on the backdrop. Very much in the mould of the Albanian flag, of course. And Shella looking absolutely ready to go in this rather fancy dress, sounding fabulous. I mean, we have so many great female singers from Albania anyway. She's alone on stage, I believe, totally in control of the performance. Wouldn't be surprised if this goes through. Probably will do better with the public than the juries, but it might be fairly even in the end. We wait and see. Portugal, Song 12. I always thought this was a bit of a dark horse, and it has risen quite a lot in the odds. It's in the top 20 now, maybe even the top 15 as I'm recording this. The Black Mamba, Love Is On My Side, this sort of jazzy, chilled out number, stands out a lot because of the sound of it. Great lead vocals, very unique tone to his voice. He moves onto the runway, the LED screen, the semi-transparent one moves down. We see somebody walking on that as he walks. We've got sort of concentric hearts on the backdrop. There's just a really warm, really peaceful feeling to the whole song. And, yeah, underrated if you dare. Song 30 is a bit repetitive. That's the only bad thing about it, really. Song 13, Bulgaria. Victoria's on this cliff-like structure. She interacts with sand at one point. She has an image of her father on stage, very touching. Vocally, fragile but beautiful, which I've said so many times before. This is a great song. But is it going to live long in the memory? If Bulgaria get first half of the final, that's their chances done and dusted, you have to say. Perhaps. But I think this is going to go through really quite comfortably in the end. It might win the whole thing, you just never know. But I think because this is so slow, I don't know, I think people might gravitate towards something a bit more up-tempo this year. 14, Finland. This is going through. It's not often we can say that about Finland, but this year it's looking very good. Blind Channel, Dark Side, this sort of new metal sound, very early 2000s Linkin Park, I've said that before. This is vibrant, energetic, quite fierce, quite angsty. There'll be a lot of support for this. Public will like it more than the juries, perhaps. 15, Latvia. I don't think this stands out enough. The stage looks a bit empty. Samantha finally getting the chance to be at Eurovision. She's in a green outfit. Dancers are in green outfits with visors as well, I believe. There's this gold, regal theme to the LED screen. I'm not a huge fan of the song, and I don't think the performance will stand out very much at all. It's as simple as that. Can't see the juries loving it either, even though she sings really well. 16, Switzerland. We've got this sort of modern dance thing going on. John's Tears, of course, to l'univers. He's got these white podiums, pillars, whatever you want to call them, on stage. He's singing really great. He's in this black top with white squiggles all over it. This is such a fine, fine song. At the end, for the final, really soaring chorus, the doors behind him open and we've got lots of flashing lights. It looks really good. I mean, this is going through, no doubt about it. Could it win? He has tumbled in the odds of late, but I think he's in with a very good shot. Very good chance, apologies. Song 17, Denmark, the last one, very 80s, an homage to the 80s, if you will. Vier Vlammen, Oeuvre beginnen then, let's practice on each other. Two guys, it's a little bit cheesy, but this is charming, and I've said it before. If you have a charming track, you're in with a fairly decent shot anyway. And this is catchy. I suppose for some people it's a guilty pleasure, but I really like it. I think it's still in my personal top 10 of the entire contest. We've got this sort of vintage video game theme on the backdrop. Lots of blues and purples, which is very much the colour of choice this year. The lead singer, runs onto the runway at one point. There's a fair amount of energy to this, and I think people will find it puts a smile on their faces. Perhaps. Anyway, what an absolutely ginormous ramble. I do apologise. Hopefully the quality's not too bad. So I should say, yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Malta is in the first half of the final too. It will be very, very interesting to see where these big hitters are placed, of course, because the running order is quite telling, if you see what I mean. Anyway, my prediction for the results of semi-final 2. I got 8 out of 10 last night. I'm expecting more of the same tomorrow. The first qualifier, I'll do this in a random order, and I will be brief. Qualifier number 1, a mark of 81.71. Once again, what I've done is I've given each track a mark out of 100 in various categories. So vocals is 1, the odds, what I think the public will do, what I think the jury will do, stage presence, all that sort of stuff, and then I've worked out the average. So 81.71 for Finland. This is going through. Don't see a scenario where it misses out. There is a place for this in the final. If it's in the second half, I can see Italy being on last and Finland right at the start of the second half, so about song 14 or 15. This is just really stand out, and arguably Finland's strongest song for years. Next, with a mark of 70.85, Moldova. I'm not too sure about this one, but I think there'll just be enough public love for it to go through. The juries might not be so keen, and obviously in the final we'll really be able to see that. The next qualifier, 87.85, it's Bulgaria. I mean, this is top 3 in this semi-final. Public might not give a huge amount of points, but still this will do well enough to progress without breaking a sweat whatsoever. I really like Victoria as well. She's got another, like Roxanne, who I mentioned earlier, she's got a great career ahead of her. The fourth qualifier, 76.57, San Marino. Of course this is going through. Now Flow Rider's there. That's more points in the bag. I don't know how the juries will go for this. There might be a fair discrepancy with this one. Maybe Senate will be, I don't know, 12th or 13th with the juries, maybe 4th or 5th with the public. I mean, let's not forget, Serhat was in the top 10 with the public 2 years ago, so surely Senate will be higher. We wait and see. The next qualifier, 83.28, is Greece. This is going to do fairly well, just not win. Top 10 in the final, possibly. I think between 10th and 15th is more likely, but Stefania, good singer, good energy, and that whole green screen stuff does work quite effectively in the end. The next qualifier, 69.57, Albania. The reason I've got Albania here, I think, is because I'm thinking a fairly even mark in both the jury and public half of the results, but enough to go through. Albania sort of sneaked in 2 years ago, and this has happened more often than not for Albania. That's what it feels like anyway, and I can see it happening again, and it's a very, very solid performance. So I think there's a place for this in the final. The next qualifier, 91.14, it's a big mark. It's Switzerland. Yeah, this is great. I mean, he's not behind a piano. Some people were a bit baffled by the rehearsal clip, but he's doing something different, and I really do think it works. And his vocals, you can't fault them. So he's going through. 3 left, 77.42, Serbia. Yeah, there'll be a fair amount of public love for this. This is fierce, as I mentioned earlier. It's going through. I mean, it's perhaps the biggest pop banger of the year. Plus, it's in Serbian, so that has to be appreciated. They're in black outfits, moving around the stage with some confidence. I mean, I know Sanja Vucic is sort of doing most of the work, perhaps, but the whole thing, really great to watch. 2 left, 87.71, Iceland. The more I see that rehearsal clip, the more I think it's a serious contender to win. That's all I'm going to say. There's no way this song is missing out. Which means the last qualifier, 71.28. It's Portugal. A bit risky, I know, but the momentum is there. People will be charmed. This could be a jury darling, if not the jury darling of the year. Portugal, I really like the song. I really like the vibe it's giving off. And yes, it is repetitive, but this would just be a breath of fresh air in the final, particularly in the second half, even though it seems as though we're going to have quite a few bands in the second half. We've got Maneskin, The Roop, and Goe there already. That's it. So I'll just recap. There will be blog posts, but like I said at the start of this video, they won't be as detailed. I don't know when they're going to be up, so I apologise for that. The results. 1st to 10th. Switzerland, Bulgaria, Iceland, Greece, Finland, Serbia, San Marino. Portugal in 8th, Moldova and Albania. 11th, missing out, Austria. Then the Czech Republic, Denmark, Latvia, Estonia, Poland, Georgia. So Switzerland a mark of 91.14, Georgia last 54.85. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you to those of you who watched my reaction video last night. All being well, I'll be back tomorrow to react to the semi-final 2 results. I'm now going to finish this iced coffee. I haven't even really finished my breakfast. I've got lunch in a minute. It's literally about to be 12 o'clock here in the UK. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to watch my health because it has been quite iffy, it must be said, last night after the contest. Not brilliant. That's it. Hopefully the quality wasn't too bad. Roll on the rest of this week. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.